I'm Aditya Raj, and I'm extremely excited to apply to organize and facilitate an IFP conference this year. That's me running the mentor activity with the grade 5s. Now, why did I choose to do IFP and commit myself to long evening sessions every Tuesday? It really started with my passion to resolve real-world conflicts. In grades 9 and 10, I really wanted to find a way that I, as a student here at UWC, could make a real-world, tangible impact to real-world conflicts. One way I tried to do this was by participating in the T-Golf Life Challenge competition at East with my friends. And the task was to kind of solve real-world conflicts, such as issues that our GCs tackle, like human trafficking in Vietnam, to some larger real-world conflicts, such as the Rohingya migrant crisis. And we were tasked to engineer and create creative solutions to these issues. Though this was an amazing experience, and we were able to create small prototypes for example, Indonesian flooding, we created a small dam that could convert the water from the floods into electricity for the shelters. I was kind of not satisfied, as it was all a hypothetical competition and none of our solutions were really going to be implemented. And so I tried my hand at Model UN, where we would debate and draft specific solutions to real-world conflicts by representing different world nations, governments, and find feasible resolutions to conflicts. And it was really interesting and a creative experience for me, writing clauses that are so specific and formal. But yet again, this was a hypothetical situation, and I wasn't able to make a real, tangible impact to the world around me, which is what I really wanted to do. Essentially, I was really frustrated as I put so much effort in trying to resolve these conflicts, but it was all hypothetical and there was no real change I was making. And only when I interacted with my GC in grade 9, I saw that maybe I would be able to make tangible changes. And in grade 10, when I met my GC Blue kids again 1 year later, I actually saw how I was able to change the lives of people across the globe by being a UWC student. And we had raised $10,000 for the Blue kids from Blue Dragon in grade 9, and this was spent on their youth program back at their camp. And seeing them in grade 10 and seeing that the meaningful relationships I made with the kids really changed their lives showed me that it was actually possible for me to resolve or make impacts on conflicts by being a UWC student here in Singapore. And so after talking to a couple seniors, I realized that IFP was the best way to make my passion and desire to make tangible impacts on real-world conflicts a possibility. And over the last 10 weeks, I've engaged in many stimulating activities and learned the important difference between leading and facilitating activities. And all these lessons I've tried to implement to my day-to-day lives. The most interesting activity for me was the JAWS and K simulation, as it showed me how two different stakeholders who do not fully know each other's perspective may view actions to help one another as dangerous and manipulative. The activity kind of showed me the importance how we, as UWC students, should understand fully the perspectives of those we are helping out, such as our GCs or the delegates at the conference, and make an effort not to act patronizing. Some other intriguing activities I enjoyed was learning about the structural violence affecting Colombia caused by just one drug and how it affects so many other people. I also really enjoyed the empathy session led by Ms. Parkins, as I truly not only understood the difference between sympathy and empathy, but learned strategies that I kind of implemented in my service that I'll talk about later. Even this morning, meeting the grade 5s and running an activity with them and seeing how such young children were also able to make connections from our activity to real-world conflicts was pretty impressive. Over the last few weeks, IFP has made me learn and develop new skills, some of which correlate with the IFP learner profile. I feel that IFP has made me a very actively engaged person in discussions, as well as made me more empathetic. And I also feel that I can now think critically about activities and evaluating them. And whenever we get into group projects, I feel like I'm always able to compromise when necessary and support other people in the group. Aside from developing my skills, I feel like I've been able to use these skills in my activities. Most notably, I feel like I'm able to support other people in my GC, and as a chair, facilitate and delegate activities to them. Furthermore, I've tried to use the empathy strategies that Ms. Parkins taught us in my service, so I am able to better connect with our service members and make more meaningful relationships. Solo for Ease also helps me improve my public speaking and make me more confident when participating in discussions, and in MUN I'm able to support other delegates through my chairing role. During my high school years, one conflict that's really resonated with me was and is the Rohingya conflict of the Myanmar refugees that are migrating to Bangladesh and other nations. One of my T-Golf challenges, I created a solution which was kind of like a wagon that you pull or the refugees pull, and the rotation of the wheels generates electrical energy that powers lamps and other things they may use, as well as the wagon allowing them to carry their belongings safely, as this is one of the biggest issues with them migrating. In MUN, as a delegate of Myanmar, I was able to draft uh, specific solutions that the Burmese government or Myanmar government could implement that would help out both the refugees and the military, and get like a win-win situation for most stakeholders or all stakeholders. And I also did an economic analysis on how the conflict has affected the Myanmar economy. And through these projects, I've kind of understood the views of each stakeholder and familiarized myself with the real world conflict. And in this video, I've primarily talked about my passion to make a tangible impact as a UWC student on a real world conflict and how IFP is this way that I may be able to do this. And so that is why I'm applying to these international conferences, because it would be a wonderful experience to meet the youth that are affected by these conflicts in person and try and change their lives, as I've read online and how previous conferences led to certain people in their communities making a change. And this is really interesting to me, and I'd love to be part of that. Hopefully, the example of the Rohingya conflict demonstrated that I am familiar with the stakeholders involved in the conflict, and according to my research, the Mae Sot conflict is somewhat similar to the Rohingya conflict in that it is on the border of Myanmar um, and Thailand, and it is also to do with the issue of refugees. And perhaps this makes me a better candidate for the Mae Sot conference. However, I believe that in the Timor Leste conference, this would give me a new conflict to analyze, and I could gain more insights from analyzing this new conflict and planning this conference than I would in the Mae Sot conference. So either way, either trip would be a privilege to go on, and hopefully this video has also demonstrated that I would be a good candidate for either of the trips because of my skills sets that has been developed from IFP and how I've demonstrated and used those skills in my activities. And hopefully you can also see that I'm a passionate believer in making tangible changes. I know I've said that a lot in this video, but hopefully this shows why I've chosen to IFP and why I would love to be part of this trip. Thank you for your consideration, and I'd see you on Tuesday.